Hey, baby. Rachel? Nothing. Thank you. Nothing. I love you. I made my first YouTube video when I was 11. I'm 25 years old now. No, I really don't need anything. I love you. Nothing. I love you. I don't need anything. I love you. Nothing. I made my first YouTube video when I was 11 years old. I'm now 25, and for some reason, I really don't need anything. I'm recording. Yeah. I'm now 25, and I have never been able to have any form of okayness with recording a YouTube video in front of somebody else, or just knowing that they're around me. And I gave my beautiful, loving girlfriend a pep talk about it, and it still doesn't feel right. So my approach here is to just fucking call the elephant in the room out that I can only see. I'm going schizo. I'm the only one that can see the elephant. I've been playing rock and roll and doing all sorts of fun, public stuff for a long time now, and it still doesn't feel right. Just because she's adjacent to me with drywall in between us. It's very strange. So you're going to be seeing this blue like circle thing all across the screen. You're probably wondering what the fuck that is. And I don't blame you because it took me 2 hours to figure out to get it to be working. This is an eye tracker. So my thinking here is that anything I'm looking at, markets are pretty complicated, and reading all this jargon on my screen is a nightmare, even as the person who's authored it, right? So this should hopefully help you, the oh so wonderful viewer, like and subscribe, or else to kind of see what I'm talking about. And it's also almost 11 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna quiet down a little bit. Yeah. So GameStop kind of came back from the dead, and ironically, it says water, by the way. Fuck all of you. Ironically, I was already in this before it happened, and I made a fair penny for myself. It was pretty nice, and there were a couple things that allowed me to do this. OnlyFlows, first off, OnlyFlows.app/register. Get your account. It's super cheap, and it won't be for long. It's almost been a year of me saying that, but I promise I'm serious this time, even more serious than the other 6. And this is got a collection of things. This is like all of the madness that you've probably been watching since this channel's inception, of everything I've learned put into a singular thing. All of the ideas and theories and blah 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 blah. All of the stuff I know about markets I've condensed into this app that I programmed. So, anywho, I think it's like 19.99 a month right now, something like that. It won't be for long, so go get it while it's hot. OnlyFlows called this out because of this chart right here, and you're probably wondering what this is. This is the kind of like dark pool sniffer. This is something that shows you where all of the critical dark pool trades are taking place at. So before the meteoric launch from about $10 to 80 over the span of a week and a half, right along here you see these purple bubbles, and these indicate institutional curiosity, we'll say. And so what's happening here is all of those trades that institutions are doing, that they're trying to hide from people like you and me, OnlyFlows picks up and then shows it on the chart. So seeing this kind of activity with the rising wedge kind of formation that we have going into this right here allowed me to see that these elevated prices were of interest, which is pretty strange because you'd think that there would be no participation from these types of people, especially after just another 50% squeeze over the span of a couple days. Every other time in history has proven otherwise. So this let me kind of catch that in advance. Yeah, pretty cool. We can also look at the 90-day institutional levels, and these also take account into all of the dark pool transactions going on, and builds out a chart that'll zoom in that gets to show you where predominantly the dollars from institutions are being thrown in at. So we've seen about $5 million scattered between 1348 and 1493, and then we have our highest level here at 29. So this is the next level I'm looking at. I wish I had a snapshot for where the most recent run, where those numbers were coming in at. But those were all like filled so that it was clearly being bought up. And the way that you can determine if it's being bought or sold is you take the current price and then look at where the premium is relative to that level. So anything under 22, I want to see more of those dollars being under 22. And then if I get that pink bar right here below 22, it's like a guarantee. That's how I read it anyways. And then we have like the top dark pool orders. So just at 1348, 1493, you're seeing over $4 million being thrown in at. So that was a very clear picture, and that's just from the dark pool side of things. Options activity, this is for today, so we'll skip over this for a few moments. But this was pretty much like clear cut, dry, straight to the point. This was going to go. So I positioned accordingly and made a pretty penny. If you're a fan of the Wyckoff sniper, then this was also screaming a buy the entire time. We saw increasing volume right here, and then these candles were being closed right at that daily trigger. So again, seeing this perpetually being thrown into this level that if it breaks above, we'll see a lot of price action go up. With it being rejected so many times, but wicking above it, it was like, it's gonna go. It's gonna go. Normally, if it's not, it's just gonna get rejected and it's gonna fall back down somewhere to the blue line. And it just persisted. It persisted, and then this happened. Like I have to go down to the 1 hour, otherwise there's too many gaps. So here we have like a triple cluster is what colloquially we call this before the big run. This formation too, just to give some context. So we're going to go back to the daily chart. And so this white box right here is where we were looking at that like pressing of the ceiling. So now that we go back to the smaller time frames, you can get some detail on this. So every single time we got rejected, we still came right back up for it. Even down through here and here and here and here. Just, this is very symbolic of, I want to say covering, but I know a lot of people are going to bite at my ankles if I say covering. So I'm going to say covering. You can see a lot of people really trying to cover here. This is shorts exiting, and they're trying to not, you got to throw some snow down the hill, but you don't want to trigger the avalanche. So this is what you get. And you got a couple snowballs, but unfortunately those picked up pretty quick. And that turned into an $80 per share snowball. That was pretty fun. But the question everybody is asking is it going to continue? Because we shot up to 80. And I think today we saw a low of like 18. Let's see if memory serves. 1893, more like 19. Yeah, a low of $19. And short squeezes, they come and go. Everybody's seen one a time or two. Some people even seen a movie about them. And it's really easy to romanticize and sensationalize what it's like. And it really kind of removes the perspective of how long these types of monsters take to brew. So we already got the jump from $10 to 80. Okay, an 8x move in like just shy of a week, maybe just over a week. Okay, fuckface. Well, now we're back down to 23. What's next? What's it gonna do? Well, we just had an 8x increase, 10 to 80, and then retraced about 75% of that, maybe like 80%. The fact that 2 weeks ago we were at $10, this many for my slow ones. We're sitting at over double that right now. So as far as I'm concerned, this is still a squeeze. Unless we drop all the way back down to 10 and then break below 10, to me this is still squeezy. So anybody that has gone short here is really, really playing with the wrong stock to be short on. And it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since this thing actually, made headlines and did the crazy thing. People also forget that it squoze in March, it squoze in February too. That's when I got into the stock market of 21. February, March, there was a little squeeze in April, and then May it had another big one. And then after that, it kind of just tapered off. This is different. This is very different. Let's go all the way back in time here. This was the original squeeze, and that took place, I think it was like 580 pre-split. But now with the current share price, that puts it to about 120. So that was the all-time high. That was the January of 21 squeeze. And then it came all the way back down. Look at that. It's a 90+% drop. And then it did it again. It went from like 20 bucks a share. I guess back then it was 9.31, all the way up to 86, right? That's an 833% move. Like, this is, people really forget how quick, or how slow in this case, things happen. And then it dropped 66%, and it consolidated for like 3 months. And then it did another 200% move going into June. And then ever since then, you get these like periodic moves. Here's a 50%, another 50%, 160-ish percent, not bad, right? And this has been going on for 3 years. And then out of nowhere, quote unquote, you get a 500% move. So a move of this magnitude really hasn't been seen in 3 years. The short interest is not what it used to be, and there's plenty of conspiracy theories about what that is. So we're going to go with the numbers that every financial body adheres to, and what everybody's financial models adhere to. We're going to go with 25%, give or take. In fact, it's what is this at? Hold on, I got you. Don't you worry. About 28%, right? Even if it's not what it used to be, 28% of a stock sold short is incredible. And there's a lot of figures about how much of that is institutionally held, and there's a lot of figures about how much of that is DRS, which I'm not going to get into. It's interesting, but I'm not going to get into it. There's a whole bunch of other places that shares can be that are not accessible to those who want to short. So 28% is just a number, which means that there's about a little over 2/3 left. And then I think half of that is institutionally held. It's not what it used to be, but it's pretty damn good. So I'm content with it. To get this train back on the rails, we're still 110% above the low that we just consolidated from for months. This is already showing signs of having a pretty considerable revival, right? And I say revival, it's alive. this thing's alive. What I'm looking at is potentially a gap up tomorrow and going to 27.5. That's kind of the next major level that I want to see broken. What it appears to be over the 90-day institutional levels, it was that, what was that number? $29 is the next major level that I want to see have some resistance broken at. And with the amount of options activity we've seen, it's gonna go. It's in a video game, it's gonna go. So today, because now I can talk about today, I've gotten a lot of my preamble out of the way now. Today we saw a lot of call selling, which is fine, right, as far as opening positions go. And this doesn't particularly mean that we're in a super bearish scenario, because the premiums here are, about 12K. 12 to $16,000 is the highest that we're seeing from opening positions. The largest orders we've seen, we saw over $700,000 of the $25 call for next week. Next week? Yeah, next week, the 31st. Yeah. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And then we also have the $25 call for that is this week, $360,000 being purchased through that. And we're seeing some put selling as well. And as far as sweep orders go, a lot of sells, but still some buying. The $15 call was being bought up a lot too. So this is even from the option side looking good. I'm a fan. No splash trades today, and I guess to touch on this real quick, the way that I knew this was, and I say new, I had a lot of certainty. There's never any certainty in the market, but I had a lot of it. There's no guarantees. I mean, this is a feature that I came up with probably 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and we call these splash trades. And so splash trades are any stock order that the size of is greater than a certain threshold of what the average volume is. So in English, if you move, I don't know, 100 cakes a day, you're a baker. If you sell 100 cakes a day on average over the span of a month, if you tell me that someone came in and bought 5 cakes at once, good for you. Right, that's great. But if you tell me one day somebody wants to order 50, just one person, right? Now it's like, fuck. you got some biz, you got some stuff going on, right? Because that's half of what you normally do in a single day. And so what this is doing is saying, okay, what is the average amount of shares that go through in a single day? I don't know, we'll call it 3 million. If somebody is doing a single stock purchase of 325,000 shares, and that comes across the tape, that says something. That says a lot. That says a lot. That's 10% of the total day's volume in one order, right? And 3 million is about right, I think. I'd have to double check. It's either 3 million or like 5 is the average volume for GameStop at this time, anyways. That was on the 29th of April. And there were two orders like this at 11.29. And then on the 30th, another 248,000 shares. And on the 30th again, another order for 248,000 shares. And then on May 1st, 356,000. And you just keep going. And before things took off, like, it's probably been 10 million shares worth of these types of orders that have come through. There was no magic here. Had nothing to do with DFE. Had nothing to do with, like a rogue fucking intern at Goldman Sachs pressing the buy button for a bunch of shares to spice up the world of retail. No, forget all that. Somebody knew something, right? And they didn't want the headline about it. It's plain and simple. And before they could get the rest of their order in, the thing started to take off. Other people started to realize. And that's not to mention even the IV for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has been through the roof. Like it's been, like the weekly chains are showing like 800% implied volatility. Pretty wicked. Yeah. So today's most active chain was the $20 call for June 21st, and that has been predominantly purchased. And then the top put contract was the $20 put for this week, and that has been predominantly sold, right? Which is bullish. Not really much else to to really touch on about like if this is a probable scenario. This is, to me, there's no question about it. But that's just me. I'm going to trade with my money. You trade with yours. So let's check out Flux real quick. Let's try that one more time. Let's check out Flux real quick. I'm going to hurt somebody. What the fuck? Oh, right. Uno momento, por favor. So in a second, there's going to be two lines. One is in green, one is in red. Okay. As I was saying, one's in green, one's in red. The green line represents calls and how much money is going into calls. If calls are being purchased, the green line goes up. If calls are being sold, green line goes down. And the same thing for puts. If puts are being purchased, red line go up. If puts are being sold, red line go down. Going into this move, which by the way, aha, wait, no. Yeah, here it is. I tweeted this on April 27th. April 27th, okay? This is not the fucking market boogeyman who decided to send this thing up. Somebody knew something. I tweeted this on April 27th, right? This is the GameStop flux chart going back to December 1st, 1 hour time frame, right? And you see this green line just come out of fucking nowhere, right? This is huge. This is big. The thing was trading at $12, right? And you can see when this line started to go up, you saw the price action go up. Now, the market isn't as simple as that, but I will say that of all of the stocks I've looked at with flux, I wrote this thing, right? GameStop is the most consistent with what the options market is doing as far as like what the price action does. So if there's bullish indications on flux, the stock 9 times out of 10 goes up. And if there's bearish indications, 9 times out of 10 the stock goes down. We saw this move being primarily driven by options. After the big move happened, you see all of the call buyers started selling, and then a little bit of put buying, right, but not a ton. Right before the move, though, all the call buying, and then you saw put selling once it breached that $12 point. Do I have to say it? I mean, I don't think I have to. Maybe I do. I'll stare at it. This thing might not be calibrated right. I'm looking. Fuck. This right here, where my cursor is. We're seeing some call buying come back in, and we're seeing a lot of put selling. Excuse me, the start of a lot of put selling. This is the best, like, this is the best indicator I've built. I'll say that I've built. I can't speak for everybody and what everybody else has built, but this is the best of the things I've built that have some predictive qualities to them, especially for this stock. This looks really good. I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing. I'm going to trade with my money. You trade with yours. That's how we're going to do this. This looks really good. I'm just going to leave it at that because this video is almost a half hour long and I've got a lot of editing to do. So yeah, like and subscribe, fondle the shaft, and see you fuckers soon. Definitely not going to be streaming. That's for sure. All right, I'm out of here.